Hello everyone, welcome to Students Point. This is 22nd of February and every day we take 10 important questions of current affairs, and today we are going to take questions related to Union Budget. We will start with the basics of Union Budget, provisions related to budget in the Indian Constitution, and then we will move to the details of Union Budget for financial year 21. Now let's see question of the day, which you have to answer in the comment section. Here is the question: Mandalay Imphal bus service will connect. So these are the options. Read the options carefully and then answer it in the comment section. Next day we will see how many of you answered it. And last day, Chinta Samuksari, Krishna Kant, Kalyan Panuganti, Cholungsaba, Shubhangi Devgan, Dilbag, Nisha, Abhilash Kavuri and many others have answered the question correctly. And if you wish to get PDF of all these videos, you can join us on Telegram. I will share the link of Telegram channel in the description box. So let's begin. Which body is responsible for preparation of Union Budget? So it is Department of Economic Affairs, which is a body under Ministry of Finance, is responsible for preparation of Union Budget. And then budget is presented in the Parliament by Finance Minister of India, at present Nirmala Sitharaman. And earlier budget were of two types. First one was general budget and second one was railway budget. Railway budget was separated from general budget in 1921 on the recommendation of Ackworth Committee. But when budget was presented in 2017, railway budget was merged with the general budget again. So now a single budget called general budget is presented in Parliament, and in it railway budget is merged. Next question: annual financial statement is mentioned in which article of the Constitution? So it is mentioned in Article 112. C is the right answer. And please note that our Constitution nowhere mentions the term budget. Instead, our Constitution uses the term annual financial statement for budget. So budget is nowhere mentioned in the Constitution. This is to be noted. And what is budget? So budget is a statement of estimated receipts and expenditure of the government for a financial year. And financial year for Government of India or any state in India starts from 1st of April and lasts till 31st of March. For instance, financial year 21 will begin from 1st of April 2020, will last till 31st of March 2021. And budget is placed before both the houses of the Parliament. So note here that it is not placed only before Lok Sabha but before both the houses. And budget include two types of expenditure. The first one is expenditure charged on CFI, that is Consolidated Fund of India, and the second one is expenditure made from Consolidated Fund of India. So what is the difference between these two? Charged expenditure is not subject to the annual vote of Parliament. Charged expenditure can only be discussed by Parliament but cannot be voted upon, whereas made expenditure are to be voted by Lok Sabha but not by Raj Sabha. So only those expenditure can be allowed from Consolidated Fund of India which are voted by Lok Sabha. But charged expenditure not require any voting by Parliament. So what is charged expenditure? These are those expenditure which are essential in nature, which include salary of judges, or emoluments and allowances of presidents or deputy chairman. Then we have pensions of high court judges. So these expenditures are very essential in nature. So they are not subject to vote of Parliament. And there are two acts called Appropriation Act and second one is Finance Act. Appropriation Act shows the expenditure side of government, while Finance Act, please note that I am using the term Finance Act, not Financial Act. There are difference between Finance Act and Financial Act. So Finance Act shows the income side of the government. So with the passage of Appropriation Act and Finance Act, the process of enactment of budget is completed. Next question. Consider the following statements about Union Budget 2020 to 2021. It centers around three ideas, that are aspirational India, economic development and a caring society. This is correct. So you have to remember these three ideas: These are aspirational India, economic development and a caring society. And it envisages a new education policy for the country. This is also correct. So both these statements are correct. C is the right answer. And government has provided rupees 99,300 crore for educational sector in financial year 21. And a national police university and a national forensic science university is proposed to be set up. And urban local bodies will provide internship to the young engineers for a year. And India SAT exam has been proposed for those who are coming from Asia and Africa and want to study in India. So they have to go through IND-SAT exam. So we are looking at the sector-wise specifics of union budget for the financial year 21. Next question. Consider the following statements about provisions related to agriculture in union budget. The budget has allocated rupees 2.83 lakh crore for 16 action points. This is correct. And these action points include running trains, that is Kisan Rail, flights, that is Krishi Udan, and providing relief to farmers from water shortage. So this is also correct. Again, both these statements are correct. C is the right answer. And government also aims to promote one product, one district initiative for better marketing and export in horticulture sector. And budget emphasizes on Jaivik Kheti, which is organic farming, and zero budget natural farming. Next question. Union budget 2020 to 2021 aims to develop 100 more airports by which year? So 100 more airports will be developed by year 2024. Some more facts in the transport sector. Railways. The railway got a budgetary allocation of rupees 70,000 crore and an outlay for capital expenditure amounting to rupees 1.61 lakh crore. What is capital expenditure? We will see later on. And it also proposed to set up a large solar power capacity along with the rail tracks on land owned by railways. So this will be established only where the land is owned by railways. And operation of 150 passenger trains would be done through public-private partnership mode. And more Tejas type trains will be introduced to connect iconic tourist destinations. For instance, recently a train called as Kashi Mahakal Tejas Express has been started, which will connect Jyotirlingas of Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. And earlier two Tejas Express were started. The first one connecting New Delhi to Lucknow and second one was from Mumbai to Ahmedabad. And national logistics policy will be released very soon. This was a previous day question. Rad second missile is tested by, so this missile is tested by Pakistan and it is a cruise missile, and Pakistan tries to match India's BrahMos with this missile. India's BrahMos missile has only 300 km of range while Rad missile has 6 km range, and both are cruise missiles, so they have horizontal path for moving towards their target. And next question, consider the following statements about National Infrastructure Pipeline Project. The target of 103 lakh crore, that comes about 1.4 trillion US dollar, has been set for the project. This is correct. Next statement, it will be implemented from financial year 2019 to 2020 till financial year 2024 to 2025. This is also correct. So this project aims to develop infrastructure in next 5 years with the expenditure of rupees 103 lakh crore. Both these statements are correct. C is the right answer. And this expenditure will be shared between center, state and private on a 39:39:2020 formula, which means that center will provide 39% of the cost, states will have to provide 39%, and private sector will incur 22% of the total project cost. And during these 5 financial years from 2020 to 2025, these sectors are going to see most of the expenditure. These are energy, roads, urban areas, railways. They will amount to around 70% of the total project cost. Next question. Consider the following proposals of Union Budget 2020-2021. Maritime Museum will be set up at Lothal, which is in Gujarat. This is correct. As you know, Lothal is very important and a historical site because of a dockyard here during Indus Valley civilization, that is Harappan civilization. And a tribal museum will be set up in Ranchi. This is also correct. Both these statements are correct. C is the right answer. And government has announced that 5 archaeological sites will be developed as iconic sites. These 5 are Rakhi Garhi, which is in Haryana. This is again a Harappan site. Then we have Hastinapur, which is in UP. Then we have Shiv Sagar in Assam, Dholavira in Gujarat, and Adi Chanalur in Tamil Nadu. We have already discussed about this place, Adi Chanalur, last day. So watch that video. And next, Indian Institute of Heritage and Conservation will also be established. Next question. The Union Budget 2020 to 2021 aims to expand Jan Aushadhi Kendra to all districts by year 2024. So remember this year 2024. And government has allocated 69,000 crore for the health sector. So remember this data as well, 69,000 crore. And now let's see some key points related to Union Budget. Nominal growth rate of GDP will be around 10% for the financial year 21. And please appreciate the difference between nominal GDP and real GDP. Nominal GDP is calculated at the current year price, that is price of the year 2020 to 2021, while real GDP is calculated at a base year price. So in real GDP inflation is adjusted, while in nominal GDP inflation is not adjusted, or the growth in prices of goods and services is not taken into account. That is why nominal GDP growth rate is always higher than real GDP. And fiscal deficit for 2020 to 2021 will be 3.5% of the GDP, while fiscal deficit in this year was 3.8%, while the target was set as 3.3%, but government surpassed this target and it ended with 3.8%. And what is fiscal deficit? So it is the difference between a government's revenue receipt plus non-debt capital receipt and its total expenditure. So basically, what is deficit? Deficit means what you earn and what you expend. So the difference comes is fiscal deficit. But here we don't count debt capital receipts, because once the debt is counted, fiscal deficit don't remain deficit. It automatically neutralizes. It becomes fiscal neutral. Suppose if you are earning rupees 100 and you are expending rupees 105. So what is the deficit? Here rupees 5 is the deficit. But once you take rupees 5 as debt and you calculate in it, it automatically neutralizes. So we don't calculate this capital debt, we only calculate the non-debt capital receipts. Now what is the difference between capital expenditure and revenue expenditure? Simply you can understand it with the concept that when there is a capital expenditure or capital receipts, there will be change in the assets and liability of government, while when there will be revenue receipt or revenue expenditure, there will be no change in government's asset or liability. Now what is assets? Assets means any building, any stocks, means these are the physical infrastructure. For instance, if government disinvest in its public sector banks or public sector undertakings, so after disinvestment government loses its assets, so it will come into capital in receipts, because government lost its assets after selling it and government in return got some money. Similarly, salary, while government provides salary, it is counted as revenue expenditure and not capital expenditure. When government got interest on the loan provided by it to the states, so again this interest is counted as revenue receipt and not as capital receipt. But When that principal amount of loan is returned to the government, this principal amount is counted as assets or capital receipt, because here government's liability has changed. I hope you got this. And next point, revenue deficit will be 2.7% of the GDP, and there is an act called as Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act. This act recommends that fiscal deficit should not increase more than 3% of the total GDP. But this year government has used this section 4 of FRBM Act, as government has surpassed this limit, and this section 4 of FRBM Act provides a trigger mechanism for deviation from the estimated fiscal deficit, and the estimation was 3.3%, but government deviated from it. But on what grounds? On account of structural reforms in the economy with unanticipated fiscal implications. Next point, FDI. In last 5 years, India received FDI of US dollar 284 billion. FDI, that is foreign direct investment. What is direct investment? These are those investment in which the investor gets some management or ownership rights. In FDI, investor brings in with him technology and managerial control and other things. But there is also a concept of FPI called foreign portfolio investment. In this, the investor don't get any ownership or management rights. And central government debt reduced to 48.7% of the GDP. Earlier in 2014 it was 52.2%. Now let's see the new tax slab proposed by Union Budget. Individual earning from rupees 2.5 lakh to 5 lakh will have to pay only 5% tax, and those earning from rupees 5 lakh to 7.5 lakh will have to pay 10% tax. Earlier they were to pay 20% tax, and those earning from 7.5 lakh to 10 lakh will pay 15% tax. Earner from rupees 10 lakh to 12.5 lakh will pay 20% tax, and those earning between 12.5 lakh to 15 lakh will have to pay 25% tax, and those earning above 15 lakh will have to pay 30% tax. Above 15 lakh may be 1 crore, 2 crore, 5 crore or any estimation. So they will have to pay only 30% tax. Earlier every individual earning between rupees 5 lakh to 10 lakh had to pay 20% tax, and those earning above 10 lakh were to pay 30% tax. So government has provided some relief for those earning between rupees 10 lakh to 20 lakh by around 5% to 10%, and for those even who are earning from rupees 5 lakh to 10 lakh. However, this new tax slab is optional. Individual taxpayers may opt to pay either with the new tax regime or with the old tax regime. Those who will pay with old tax regime, they are eligible for tax deductions or any schemes or leverage which government provides, but those who will opt for new tax regime will not be eligible for any tax deductions. And corporate tax has also been reduced to 15% to those who are new domestic companies and they are going to be in manufacturing or power sector. And the outlay for defense and pension apart from interest payments formed the bulk part of the budget expenditure in the financial year 2021. And the defense here in total expenditure will be 10.62%, means out of total expenditure 10.62% is going for the defense budget. The IT and telecom sector witnessed the biggest increase in its share of expenditure compared to financial year 2020, and the increase was 1.36% of the total. So share this video if you find it useful, and don't forget to like it, answer the question in the comment section, subscribe to our channel and wait for the next video. Till then, thanks a lot.